Hey, what's going on guys? My name is Silent Core and the Star Wars Battlefront beta is sadly over. However, in this video I'm going to be going through my top 10 tips from this beta that can hopefully help you out when the final game arrives. And this game's going to be arriving on November 17th, so not too long to go. The first tip is you can actually change what perspective your default spawn is going to be in. So at any time in Star Wars Battlefront you can change between first person and third person just by the touch of a button. However, you can actually go in the options and change what your default going to be spawned at. So if you do want to play in third person all of the time, you can easily change that. Tip number 2 is when you're playing and you hear the theme music, this sound right here. This actually indicates that a hero has entered the battle, so you might want to think twice before charging the enemy spawn. Did you know that you can melee right through the personal shield? So if you're faced with somebody that puts up their panic shield right in front of you, you can give them a cheeky bash in the face with your rifle, and that'll actually hit right through their shield. But just be careful though, this actually works the other way around as well. Tip number 4, when you're flying in a vehicle, you can use the D-pad to perform evasive dodge maneuvers. This is really useful if an enemy is locked onto you and you just want to lose that. There is a short cooldown on this though, so use it wisely. So this is an important tip for gunplay. Crouching and aiming both do not increase your accuracy. This is not Battlefield. I personally prefer playing in first person, however, many people do recommend you play in third person since you don't need to aim anyway and you can get the wider field of view that you get playing in third person. When you're playing as a hero, you can actually hold the aim button and you'll hold up your lightsaber and actually block enemy fire. Tip number 7 is all about instant reloads. So when your gun overheats, you can reload on the yellow markers for an instant reload. And there's actually 4 different weapon stages. So if you do an instant reload, you'll move to stage 2 where the yellow marker gets smaller, stage 3 is even smaller, and stage 4 is just tiny and really hard to get right. So if you fail a stage, you'll actually be bumped back a stage, so it's slightly easier next time you overheat. So if you're stage 4 and you fail, you'll be back to stage 3. Stone Mountain 64 did a really cool in-depth video on this if you want to check it out. I'll put a link in the description. This cycler rifle does a huge amount of damage to vehicles and turrets, and I really wish more people knew about this. So if you see an enemy ATST coming towards you, if a few people just shoot their cycler rifle shots at it, you can take that thing out very quickly. Next up, I'd recommend using the shield card whenever you're playing capture objectives, especially in drop zone. You can just pop up your shield and easily capture any of the pods. The shield's also super useful to avoid being killed if you've just got a pickup, since it takes a few seconds to activate, which makes you quite vulnerable. So if you've just picked up a vehicle or something, it's sometimes quite useful just to pop up that shield and activate it. So tip number 10 is probably one of the most important, and I wanted to save it for last, and that's that you should use your minimap. I can't describe to you guys how much I actually use the minimap when I'm playing. It shows the position of enemy players at all times, not even if they're shooting. So if you see a red line on your map, that means there's an enemy in that direction, and the closer they get, the more red that section of the minimap gets, and if they're right under you, it'll turn into a red circle. And this has saved my life so many times. It's also really useful to keep an eye on it for when the enemies spawn switch, so if you know people are going to be spawning behind you. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video and maybe even learned something new. If you have any tips or tricks that I didn't cover, feel free to leave those down in the comments section. I'd love to hear them. Don't forget to leave the video a like if you did enjoy, and I'll see you guys in the next one.